Welcome to another season of Hoda's Career Info, the program where career professionals from across the globe meet to empower you to succeed. This program is brought to you by Right Career Fit. Listen and learn, and remember to have that very important career conversation with a career professional.
Ask questions. Always ask questions. There's no stupid questions. You don't have to be a very famous or powerful person to change the world. Don't live the life and then have tons of regrets. Pay less attention to what other people say and do and think. Find this daydream of yours and follow your dreams.
Thank you for joining me in Hoda's Career Info, your career program where guests from across the globe share career tips and personal stories to help you successfully navigate your career. I am Hoda, your host. I look forward to another season of career chats with international professionals who will inspire you to take your journey to the next level. Guest today on Hoda's Career Info is Jenny Barkan. Jenny Barkan is a certified business coach specializing in leadership skills development and creation of employee experience. Jenny's educational background is law and psychology, but her passion always was to help people to live better lives while they are at work and outside of work. Jenny is a big supporter of science-based coaching and often shares the latest developments in neuroscience during her webinars and training. In her spare time, Jenny is a devoted dog mom, a bit of a bookworm, and a wine lover. Thank you for joining me and Jenny Barkan. Jenny shares her experience moving on to a new country and starting her own business. How have your actions and choices changed your career trajectory? Thank you, Jenny Barkan, for joining me today in Hoda's Career Info. I appreciate your time and the support you've given me by agreeing to have this conversation.
Thank you for having me.
I always like to start the program, Jenny, with a question that challenges you to think of one term that describes the work that you do. It can be more than one word, but that when you reflect on your work, how would you describe your services?
Probably it's a whole sentence. And I would say it's, if you don't ask, the answer is always a no. What I'm trying to bring out of my clients and out of myself, first and foremost, is a curiosity. Do not sit on the spot that, okay, I've seen it all, I know it all, right? So been there, done that. There's always something new. And the best source of it, I would say, is people around me, right? My clients. Sometimes I come out of the coaching session and I feel like, I can't even take money for that. You taught me so much as well, right? So it's always a discovery, right? So, and I'm trying to help my daughter to, take the same approach, and everybody I work with. Ask questions. Always ask questions. There's no stupid questions in this world, right? There's always something to learn. And if you don't do that, there's always will be a no. And there always will be regret down the road. Why would I didn't do that? Why didn't ask it? Why didn't I connect with someone? So that, I would say, my probably life motto. If you're not asking, the answer is always a no.
And such an important motto, and we see it now, curiosity as soft skills that are required in the world of work today. The next question for you, Jenny, would you be able to share your story with the audience and embedded with it perhaps some kind of message to top on? If you don't ask, the answer will always be no.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so my life story, I lived and worked in 3 different countries. So the Canada is the third one. And I came to Canada with 2 wonderful, but absolutely useless degrees. One was law and one was psychology. And as many people know, you have to go back to school for these 2 specific fields to practice in a different country. And by the time I had mortgage, I had my daughter, right? So I had responsibilities, and simple as that, I couldn't afford to go back to university, right, and pay for that. And I was thinking, what do I want to do when I grow up? And nothing interesting, was just like, just find a job, get some experience, earn some money, and then you will decide. And probably the right approach, I took the right approach. I took some time, right? So I found like administrative job, not very excited job, but I've met a lot of great people. I improved my English. I learned so much about living and working in Canada. It took a few years until I realized what is it that I want to do when I grow up. I learned about coaching, and then it took a few more years to get back to school and get the coaching education and gain some courage, to leave the comfortable corporate world and open my own practice. Nothing happened over a night, right? It all took years to get to it. But I think it's really representative of my approach. If you don't ask, the answer is always a no. So I could have come here and being bitter that I can't do what I already know, right? Being a lawyer or work with psychology. I could have been stuck in the jobs just for paycheck, right? But I always was trying to, so what else can I do? What else is there? What is coaching? How is it to have your own business? Is it very scary or just a little bit scary, right? So I talked to many people, and because I was pushing myself, ask questions. It's scary to ask questions, right? Sometimes we think if we would ask someone for help, they would see us weak or not confident. Or what if people won't be nice to us if we ask something? But I learned time and time again that people are actually much more helpful and kind than we give them credit for. And if you don't ask, you don't learn about these wonderful people that you would, can rely on and gain their wisdom and talk to them. So this is what I was doing during my years working in the corporate world in Canada, asking about coaching, talking to people. I got my own mentor who was already in the coaching world. And I was asking, I don't know how many questions. At some point I said, when you get tired of my questions, tell me. She never did. She always was there for me. And some time ago, I opened my own practice. Am I completely confident in what I do and I don't have any down days? No, of course I do. And sometimes I feel, who am I trying to, teach people or do something for people? Do I have enough to give? And then I talk to someone and they tell me, yes, you do. Yes, you can. And it keeps me going.
You certainly do, and you certainly can, and you are doing it. And I'm very proud of you. I know every time we have a conversation, I'm learning something new from our conversations.
Thank you.
I'm very proud of what you have accomplished so far, particularly starting your own business, landing in Canada and taking it all in stride. Wow, that's an accomplishment. I took the time to look at your website, Jenny, jennybarkan.com. I'll repeat that, jennybarkan.com. And I got the feeling that with your curiosity, you are on a mission to change the world. That's the impression I got from your website. I want to know more about this mission. But before that, I guess I would like to know,
how did you get to that feeling, you know, being an immigrant and then coming to Canada and all that? So you tell us a little bit about your story, but how did you get to that feeling? And how do you help your clients perhaps reach that feeling? I feel that's what you're trying to accomplish with your clients as well.
Yeah, you got it absolutely right. My favorite quote of all times is from Steve Jobs. He said many years ago that people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world usually do. And interesting fact, when I was 6 years old, and at this age, many, adults asking you, what do you want to be when you grow up? And my answer was, I want to be a prima ballerina and be the best ballerina in the world. And everyone who comes to see me dancing would be in absolute awe and would fall in love with ballet and classical music. I was absolutely set on that. I never changed my answer for quite a few years. And I never became a ballerina. I love dancing and I love music, but ballerina, it's not who I am. But I learned through the years and my experiences living in 3 different countries, 3 different cultures, that you don't have to be a very famous or powerful person to change the world. As long as you're trying to change a very small world of one person at a time. And this is what I'm trying to do with my clients. I wish I can have a magic wand and in one day solve all the world's problems, right? Who won't? And I can't. Unfortunately, I can't. Or maybe fortunately, right? We don't know. But I do know that by being present as a coach with my clients, with my coachees, I can, by asking questions and eliciting some thinking from people, I can change their world, one person at a time. And I also know if I would be able to reach one person, then this particular person can change the world of his or her family, or kids, or friends, or co-worker, if you're talking about leaders at work. So yes, I'm working with one particular person, but if I would do a good job and if the person would feel inspired to do the same, like feed it forward, then many people would be touched by that. So I left the idea to influence the entire world with my ballet dancing. And I settled with the changing the world by one person at a time with coaching. And when I work with my clients, they tell me, oh, you're so passionate about that. This is what I'm trying to convey, that if I feel passionate about that, anyone else can. And the way I do it is quite simple, actually. When people are coming to the coaching or any training with me, my first question is, if there's no limits or restrictions, no like money or time or responsibilities, forget about everything. What is it that you want to do with your life? Anything is possible. Tell me your dream. As adults, we're not giving ourselves this option to dream, right? It's always, I don't have money for that. I have too much responsibilities. I have to do this. And it's a long list of to-do stuff, tasks and everything. So I'm asking them to dream first. And then the second question almost always is, what is it about this dream that makes it so desirable? Feel it. Tell me how this dream feels, how this dream smells, how this dream for the touch. Live it. Tell me all about it. And when people giving the opportunity to dream, forget about any limitations, something turns on in them, in their mind, right? And their eyes begin sparkle, right? Their face seem different, and we always can, roll back and see what's possible, what's realistic, right? But it's always secondary. First, tell me what is it that you really, really want. And giving this opportunity, people really often changing their lives, or they finding the ways to deal with barriers because they get a glance at this wonderful dream and they don't want to let it go. So I hope kind of to infect them with my passion about them and to spread this infection. I guess this infection is worse than infection of curiosity and passion is worth being spread.
Absolutely. And such an empowering way to encourage your clients to get started somewhere. Jenny, the services you offer, now that you shared your background with us, I feel that you did not really waste your time with your psychology degree, because within your services, and you offer a few, you have one that you call personal crisis management. Can you tell the audience a little bit about this particular service?
Yes. So it's my favorite thing to do. I love doing everything I do. I love my job. It doesn't feel like a job most often. But the personal crisis management, it's when people going through something, whether it's a career, and I'm not a psychologist in Canada, right? So that's a full disclosure. I am not providing any therapy or anything like that. I'm staying with my coaching hat on, right? It's future oriented. It's by asking questions. But oftentimes when we're going through something tough, our brain goes directly to this fight, flight, or freeze mode. And when it happens, and it almost always happens, right? So unless we have very special training, like first responders, for example, majority of us going to the absolute worst case scenario in our head, right? If something happening. And what happens in our brain that the area that called prefrontal cortex, the thinking brain that behind our forehead, where we analyze, we learn, we innovate, it gets shut down because our brain can't be in two places at once. It can or panic or think straight, can't do both. And majority of us, and it's very human to go full swing to the panic mode. And sometimes we need someone else, we need a strange external factor to pull us back. It's very hard to start thinking logically or innovatively when you are thinking that your life is just ruined, right? Or career is into pieces, or something very serious is going on. And the best way to do that, actually, to bring our brain activity back to the prefrontal cortex, to thinking brain, is by asking questions, by asking very simple, maybe yes and no for the beginning, and then more and more complex questions. So our brain slowly, like, okay, so I can answer this simple question, and then another simple question, and then our brain gains this control back. It goes off this fight or flight or freeze motion into the let's think straight, let's look around, let's find the ways we can deal with. And this is exactly what majority of us need when we are in a crisis mode. And of course, if it's a horrible health crisis or mental health crisis, so the professional help is needed always. So that should be always an option for people. And I'm working very hard to break the stigma about mental health, that it's something awful, shameful, etc. No, it's any other disease like, I don't know, cancer or diabetes that people ask for help. So mental health needs to be treated as the same thing, just a disease that need help. But in the moment, to take people off this fight or flight kind of panicking situation, I'm offering a set of questions, and I'm there to listen, and I'm saying in advance, there's no bad ideas. There's no wrong answer. There's no stupid questions. Whatever is in your mind, it's you're doing the best out of the like under the circumstances. It's a safe space, and people trying to relax, they begin to think, and you will be surprised. Best part of my job, I don't have to find any solutions for people. I don't have to think hard. People offering the insight that they even surprised themselves. Oh, like how I haven't thought about it earlier, but it's not my thought. It's always theirs. I was just there to offer some questions and a safe space to start thinking. So it was a long answer, but I love this part of my job. So this is basically what crisis management is.
It's a perfect answer. And it's such an important service. I think it should be a part of every outplacement package. Not just career coaching, but crisis management, because anyone who's been let go from their job knows that you need to go through that phase first before you actually can take on another job, especially if it's a surprise layoff. Jenny, you've taken on a lot of challenging opportunities. Do you have any part of what I do is I encourage my clients to always try new things. I do it myself, but then I kind of share my examples with them, because we need to be constantly curious, as you mentioned, and constantly learning. Do you have anything else going on in the near future that you would like to share with the audience today?
When I came to Canada, and I knew English somewhat new, and I always was very scared to speak in public, because what if I will forget the word? What if I will invent the word? I'm still doing it sometimes. What if my accent would be too heavy to understand? Or what if people not interested in what do I have to say? So public speaking for me, although I have to do it as part of my coaching job, actually every time I am shaking and I'm scared, and every time I need to speak in front of people, my last thing before I'm going on the stage is, why did I put myself into this situation again? But the moment I see people reaction, it turns 180 degrees. I'm saying, okay, when is the next time I can do that again? And then the story repeats itself. So for me, speaking in front of people, I believe it always will be a challenge, right? And I guess it's okay, because I care about it. So this is why I'm worried and I'm kind of shaking and nervous. So my biggest dream, and probably the biggest challenge, and it might sound a little bit ambitious, but it's to have my own TED Talk. So it sounds crazy, right?
It's not crazy. If you're on a mission to change the world, TED Talk should be next on your list.
I guess it's a logical step, but still it sounds to me like, oh my God. So I'm really set on this goal, and I'm thinking that in the next 2 to 3 years, I want to have this TED Talk of my own. I have no idea about the topic yet. I have a lot. I don't even know how to get to TED Talk stage yet. So I just have this idea. And everything I do, every conference I'm speaking at, every webinar or seminar I'm facilitating, every interview I'm giving, I take it as a practice, that I'm gaining my confidence to one day click the button, right, to find out how to apply and do it. I'm not there yet, but I don't see like, oh my God, it's so long ahead, right? What if something would change? What if I can't? I'm trying not to think about it. I'm just trying to enjoy the road at first. The journey is often more interesting than the destination. We all know that. But I really believe that everything I do right now, it's a little, steps towards my goal. And maybe next time we speak, or like having an interview, I would say, you know what, I applied. And another one would be, you know what, I have a date. Who knows?
Well, they say one of the things to accomplish a challenge is to talk about it, because then you've told everybody you're going to do it. So everybody's going to ask you on it. So you've committed on this program for sure to try to work toward it. I look forward to seeing you on a TED Talk sooner than later.
I'll do my best.
These were all the questions I had prepared for you today, Jenny, and I thank you for your time and for sharing that very special dream. Was there anything else you would like to add? Maybe one more tip to top the ones you've already shared?
Mm-hmm. So I want to say that people, especially immigrants, especially women with, kids and family and responsibilities, we always carrying a lot of weight of the world, right? They worry about everybody around us, and we put ourselves as a last priority, if at all. And I want to remind every person like that even if your English is not perfect, even if you carry a very different culture, you dress very, very differently, you sound different, doesn't matter. You are worthy of having a dream and finding the time for that from the busy days, and sometimes saying no to something else or someone else in order to create this space and time to really give yourself a chance to bring your dreams and make them like come through. And I would invite everybody, no matter if you're a woman or man, immigrant or Canadian, born here and raised, find your dream. And you said that my TED Talk dream is not crazy, right? And thank you for saying that. And I guess I have to, do what I preach, right? Follow what I preach and say there's no crazy dreams out there, as long as they're legal, right? So find your dream, understand why is it important, and use your career opportunities and asking other people for help to get there. Don't live the life and then have tons of regrets. I should have. Why didn't I? Because we can't live it second time. We're not getting a second chance, right? Use this only one. And yeah, you will fail. You will make mistakes, right? Someone would laugh, but someone would give you a helping hand and admire you for what you're doing. So pay less attention to what other people say and do and think, and find this dear dream of yours and follow your dreams.
Thank you so much, Jenny, for leaving us with this perfect advice, in my opinion. And thank you for being on Hoda's Career Info.
Thank you very much.
You've been listening to Hoda's Career Info, the program where career professionals from across the globe join me to empower you to succeed. My guest today on Hoda's Career Info, Jenny Barkan, shared her dream and the actions she is taking to achieve it. What does your dream look like, and what are you doing to achieve it? You can connect with Jenny Barkan on LinkedIn. Don't forget to share your feedback in the comments section. Please remember that you can listen to Hoda's Career Info since it's also dropped as a podcast. To let me know if you are interested in an opportunity to talk about your work, you can send me a direct message on my website, rightcareerfit.com, where you can also sign up for my newsletter to stay up to date on the latest episodes. Remember to like, subscribe, share, and follow me on social media for more career info. I am your host, Hoda, and until next time, stay inspired and keep moving forward in constructive ways.